Well, what's going on, guys?
Not much. How about you?
No fun. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
Good.
Well, welcome everybody. Happy to see everybody here. What can we say? I mean, what a great night, huh? Nick Gilbert was phenomenal. I mean, we got to start doing something with those bow ties. I have to get one myself. So he was great. Can't be happier for our fans, for our organization, for Northeast Ohio. I'm thinking back to our last home game when Anthony Parker walked off the floor, went to a standing ovation, and just our fans and fan appreciation night, and to think about all that and all that energy, and just a wonderful night for our fans, wonderful night for Nick Gilbert. I thought he did an amazing job up there on the stage. So it's great. We couldn't be happier. I was with our Vice President of Basketball Operations, David Griffin, and Coach Scott, and we didn't hear anything that anyone said after because we were hugging each other the whole time. So it was an exciting time for us too. So with that, we'll open up for questions and talk a little bit.
It's obviously a great shot in the arm for you guys. What does it do to the rebuilding process, if you want to call it the rebuilding process? How much does it accelerate things, having the 1 and the 4?
Well, Tom, we've talked about this before. I mean, the one great position we're in is we have a bunch of flexibility, and this adds to that and gives us an opportunity to get 2 good, very young players to add to our core and keep growing. So it's not a process that happens in one night. It's a process that takes some time, and you have to build and let young people grow and flourish, and it's day by day and brick by brick. So it's exciting to have 2 picks high like that. Regardless of the outcome, we're going to get 2 good players, and we're excited about that, and this makes it a little sweeter.
Can we assume Irving is the pick at 1?
I don't think we can assume anything at this point. I mean, of course, that'll be a big question, you know, who you're going to take. We got to go through the process. You know, we haven't had a chance to talk to any of these people yet. We got to sit down and talk to them. The human piece is really important to us, as you know. We put a lot of value in that. As for our team and for our fans and our ownership group. We haven't done any medical testing or anything yet, so there's still some pieces that we have to go through, and we're going to continue through the process and keep working. And with the trade exception, with the picks, with the players that we already have under contract, we have a lot of flexibility. So I'm looking forward to the next few weeks to see what comes of that.
How hard did you have to fight to get that pick unprotected from the Clippers in that trade? Is it something you were willing to walk away from to make sure it was unprotected?
You know, we're never really going to get into our negotiations publicly. Obviously, because of Dan and the ownership group, it put us in a position where we could be aggressive because we did take on a lot more money to do that deal, and not all teams are willing to do that. And to Dan's credit, you know, he was willing to step up and go after it. So we were aggressive with it. We thought it was important that we got picks and we got high picks, and you know, we got lucky tonight.
Chris, when people say it's not a deep draft, does it really matter when you have 1 and 4? I mean, it wouldn't have to be that deep, would it? I mean,
yeah, we've talked about this before. We look at every draft as there's going to be 10 to 15 really good players, and it's our job to figure out who those guys are. Now, certainly, the higher you're picking, the better chances that you get those guys. But it's still a challenge. We'd like to add more draft picks. We'd like to add more young players. We're a big fan of bringing those young guys in, Daniel Gibsons and J.J. Hicksons and Semi Erdens and those young guys that we've brought in here. We like that concept. So the more young guys we can add that are our kind of people, we're all for it.
Is this better than winning a big postseason game?
No.
Would it be fair to say with 1 and 4, regardless of what order you might go in, you're probably going to go big and small? I mean, you wouldn't pick 2 guys that played basically the same position, would you?
I haven't even thought about that yet. You know, certainly when you start to look at the draft and what players are available, what positions and what depth you have at those certain positions in a draft, you can start to make those decisions. There's a number of things that are, you know, do we trade picks? Do we keep picks? We have the trade exception. Do we go a certain way, one way, and another way? We don't even. Those are conversations that we'll start to get in. We'll get into the conference rooms and shut the door and start to throw ideas up on the wall and work through each of those things and work through our process.
Do you have any problem taking a European player? I mean, is that...
None whatsoever.
Okay.
Did you talk to Dan right after, or did you guys talk right before, or how did that go down?
Well, I mean, it's been, what, 45 minutes now? So, no, obviously, just super excited for Nick. I mean, I thought he was fantastic. I really did. I thought, you know, he's 14 years old. He's up on the stage, and I thought he was genuine. I thought he was super. It was outstanding. You know, he can he can certainly, anytime we need some luck, I'm calling Nick and bringing him with me right here. So he was great. Happy for him and happy for Dan and his family and just the support. I mean, this community and the Gilberts and the ownership group, it's an exciting time. I think it's time for
The
everybody.
fans over the party were kind of, pumping their fists and yelling as each
Yeah,
got closer.
yeah.
You guys doing the same? with
No,
fans?
no, I was in the back room. I couldn't watch, so I do get nervous, right? People say, "Do you get nervous?" Yeah, when I saw that the Eights pick, the pick that we had at 8, I forget who came up. I can't remember what team came up, but was it Detroit?
Yeah.
When Detroit came up, I literally went to the other room. So, and then I heard Byron and David Griffin screaming. So then I came back in and said, "What happened? What happened?" So, and then I went back when we got closer. So exciting night.
Chris, were there any positive signs today, just being around town and that this was going to go your way?
So much of it you can't control, right? I mean, it's a lottery. It's a mathematical equation. Once again, you want to try to put the organization in a position that it can potentially be successful. So I think because of our flexibility and support from ownership, we've been able to do that. It's great for our fans. And so as we move forward, we have those things. But going through the day, no, I mean, everything went well at the Starbucks this morning. The line was short. I got my normal 17 shots of espresso and came in. So.
Did you increase that now?
Yeah, we still have a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work to do. Certainly not happy with our season. We have high expectations, so a lot of work for us to do. We have 4 picks, and we'd like to get more, and so we'll buckle down, and our guys will get to work, and we'll keep going through the process.
Chris, what do you think of Kyrie Irving from what you saw of him last year?
I think there's a lot of good players. Obviously.
What did you think of Irving?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna get to That was good. That was good. So obviously he only played 11 games. So we've gone back as a staff and watched all those games, and certainly a very impressive player, an impressive young person from afar. We haven't had a chance because of the rules to really sit down and talk to people and ask them questions and find out more about who they are and what makes them tick. But we were pretty impressed with the number of guys in this draft. So. A lot of those guys that you hear rumored up towards the top, we're looking forward to sitting down and talking to and getting to know better. So there's no decision that's been made, and this is a process we have to go through.
Chris, what's the process like consist of? You got to call their agents or call them and get them here. How long does that typically take from, say, today until you get them actually in here and working on it?
Yeah, it's really a good question. It doesn't really start today. It starts when these guys are in high school. We start watching them in all-star games, and then we start watching them as young players. Our scouts are going to practices. We're gathering information about players, their work ethic, what kind of teammate are they, do they love the game, what's important to them, what's their family background. We really try to go deep and wide and gather as much information because we're adding somebody to our family. And it's important that we have a good feel for who they are. So it's a process that's ongoing throughout the year. There's players that aren't in this draft that are playing in college, that we're continuing to do that process. And it really never stops. I mean, right after the draft's over, there's other tournaments, under 18, over 19 tournaments that our scouts are going to start the process, continue moving forward. So it's an ongoing thing for us. Obviously now we have a better idea where we're picking, as do the players and the agents and so forth. So now we can sit down and say, okay, these are the guys we're going to bring in, these are the guys we're going to talk to, these are the guys that are going to work out. We're going to really start to dig in, bring our scouts in, have meetings, and really dig into those concepts.
Chris, you talk about a family. How did the events of last summer affect the way you look at the culture that you want to build in this organization going forward?
So, once again, looking back on that last night of the season, for us, when you go through a tough season, you worry about your culture and your chemistry, and and you guys have spoke to our guys when they've finished the season. We're lucky. We have really good guys that care about one another, and our guys are coming in early and staying late and working, and we're very defensive and proud and protective of our culture, and we'll continue to be that way. It's something that's not just with the Cavaliers, but it's with the Monsters, it's with Quicken Loans, it's with all the companies that Dan's a part of, and he's intricately involved with all of those companies because of that, and that's important. You feel that from top down, and so for us, moving forward and looking ahead, we're going to continue to live by those rules, so to speak. Anybody else? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you staying up at night, and got a lot of work to do, so we'll get after it. It's a good night. Good night for Cleveland.